Alright, so let's talk about rank and rent again. The biggest question I see that people have is, does it really work and is it worth your time to build out a rank and rent site? In this video I'm gonna answer this very question because I've been in this SEO space for probably half a year now, and I have a website that I have managed to rank, and I'm gonna talk about it. I'm gonna talk about the pros and cons of this model and whether or not you can make it work. So for you, go on Reddit. You're probably gonna find a bunch of guys talk about how it doesn't work and how it's impossible to rank, and Reddit is just very negative about the entire business, entire online business space. So I wouldn't get too much advice from places like this, but you also don't want to listen to people who sell you their new way to rank a website, some kind of course. All the big names out there, like you can just type rank and rent on YouTube and you'll see. I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna show you because why not? So you'll see guys like Jackie Cho. He doesn't actually sell you anything about the rank and rent, but I think he's a little over optimistic about the model. Guys like Nick Wood, all they do is talk about the upsides, right? They sell a course. You have to understand they are incentivized to give you the biased information, and you cannot trust these people. All right, they're salespeople. You cannot trust them. Here's I'm not sure about this guy, but any big name, like somebody who claims that it's working fantastically well and telling you that you should start and you will succeed, that's probably BS. The only guy I've listened to and I think he has complete legitimacy is James Dewey, because he actually tells you not to start rank and rent. He tells you to do everything else besides rank and rent, and then if you somehow become the best at SEO and you have the budget to start rank and rent and you have the network and the business skills to do it, then you can try rank and rent. But it's probably the hardest way to make money with the SEO. It's probably one of the hardest ways, honestly. And the reason why is because, and I have a website, right? The reason why is because, first of all, ranking is not easy, okay? If you are not a legit business, you're gonna infinitely struggle to set up, uh, legitimate digital presence. It is not easy to set up, even money aside. Let's just talk about the complexity of the logistics, the setup, the everything. It's not easy to get citations when you have a fake website. It's not easy to get links when it's a fake website. Alright, if you are a business, you probably get some links just because maybe you can ask the community to help you out, and some people might link to you. I don't know. Like when you have a business, people tend to help you out because you already helped them out. But when it's just a website that is completely fake, it's actually hard to do anything and to get any kind of trust to that website, right? You can start ranking, but people sometimes just don't trust your name. Like, you have to understand, customers do not go to just a website. They know what's behind the website. It's not the point of just being in the top place. They want a brand. They want to know who they call, right? So they'll probably ask their neighbors who who did something, in the past, let's say it's window cleaning, they'll ask their neighbors who did they do it with, and then they'll like call that company, and they'll go and search on Google, right? They'll check reviews and they'll do all the stuff, but the intent is quite different. So with a fake website, it's actually hard to do that. And I'm not saying it's impossible, because there's people like him who seem to do quite well. And I say seem because you cannot trust anybody here. You cannot trust anyone unless you like met them in person and you just know for a fact that they aren't lying. So that's the first difficulty, is ranking is actually hard when it's a fake site. And you might rank, you might be able to build some links, but it's gonna be difficult, and it's not gonna be free, and it's not gonna be cheap either. So backlinks, if you have like a junk removal website, or like a towing website, to get links to that is actually hard. Like you need to pay for it, and you need to convince somebody to do it, because nobody just links out of being nice. Nobody just squeezes out all the SEO juice from their domain, their website. It has to be a link from the page that has high trust in Google, right? It's not like you can just link from any page from the website. Even if you have an authoritative website, a good domain that has trust, you cannot just link from like a blog post. It's not gonna work. Like Google is gonna see it and think, oh, that's junk. And so it's hard to convince people to do it for your site that is not legit in the first place. Like you think you are some genius here, everybody knows what you're doing. Like it's hard, because every time you try to get an AP, like a name, address, phone number, those kinds of citations, it's gonna ask you for a ton of information about the business, and you just don't have it. So it's actually hard, but it is possible. What's a real challenge here is not even ranking, but in a local SEO space, you have to understand that there's only so many businesses that you can rent the website out to, and these businesses do not always want more customers, and they aren't always ready to pay the money you want them to pay. So let's just assume that you have a relatively small city and you have roughly about 50 or 100 companies that could potentially buy leads. You have to understand that half of them are probably not interested. Half of them probably don't need customers. Like they're fine. Like a lot of these small businesses, they're literally okay. There's 101 ways they could make money, and like they are just not doing it. They just don't care. Okay, it's shocking, because they have like email lists just sitting there. They aren't sending any mail. They aren't like trying to get customers back. Like there's so many ways they could be making more, but they just don't, and they don't care. And what that means is you cannot sell them leads. They just don't give two shits. Alright? And the businesses that do qualify, that would potentially, the ones who spend money on ads and stuff, they don't always trust you, because it's a very scammy industry, and it's very hard to sell somebody this kind of model where you rent out the website. Like it's just hard. And if you have just 50 people who could potentially buy, you're gonna run out of people to reach out to, and unless you're friends with them and you have like a really strong business relationship already, you know them, they want you to build a site for them, and they can give you money, they give it to you up front. Unless that's the case, you are probably not gonna have anybody renting the site. Okay, I know it sounds weird because you have like all the leads and stuff, but trust me, they don't always want it. They, half of them are gonna think you're not a real business and you're trying to just extract money from them, and so they'll just, the trust factor just completely ruins this thing apart. Okay, and there's not much you can do about it. They've been cold like for the past, as long as they have existed as a business, they've been everybody tried to sell them leads. They've gotten thousands of calls and emails and everything you can imagine, people trying to sell them new customers, right? So they are really, really suspicious. And I say it because I've done it. I literally spoke to these people, and they aren't bad people. They aren't like, they've just heard it so many times that they just don't trust you. You cannot convince them. All right, so if I was to start, this is totally doable, right? This is, in theory, this is doable, and I'm not saying you cannot build that relationship and get somebody to, say, all right, there you go, here's $1,000, I'll give it to you, just put me number one. There's people who try to do it, like there's businesses who invest in SEO and they understand the value of it and everything else. And so if you can do it performance based, then it's interesting, right? It's gonna be a good deal for them. But I would start with getting to know those people. Just go drink coffee with them. And I would just like do it for just as an experiment, honestly, because you might find somebody who wants to do it, but you cannot rank the website because the market is too saturated, too competitive, and so it's not simple. Okay, there's no simple way here. It's complex to rank, but it's also difficult to find a buyer because it's such a small market. And trust me, if there's only 100 companies, you have to be in some serious luck to find anybody who is going to say yes to this kind of offer. Alright, so before you invest a month or 2 or 3 into building sites and trying to do this whole rank and rent, I hope this video was informative. If so, drop a like. If you have a question, let me know. Otherwise, see you in the next one.